It's an epidemic out there today. There's a lot of people out here in this world that's on drugs with no hope, no tomorrow. I took that first hit, and at 16, I was still a baby. I was still growing. I mean, I had my whole life ahead of me, and it was just shattered off of one hit of drugs.
My son got killed. Then after that, my 12-year-old got taken. And it was kind of hard, you know. I continued getting high, not thinking about the son that I still had. I continued getting high because I didn't want to believe the one was gone that I lost.
While I was locked up, incarcerated in jail and prison, my kids were taken from their mom by social services. This was my last chance to get help for myself and also to obtain my kids again.
But I had to get him back, you know, because the reason was me. And I had to turn it around.
Even under the best of conditions, being a parent is never easy. Parents must feed and clothe their children, keep them safe and well, and provide good role models for living. Under the worst of conditions, a home where there is addiction to drugs or alcohol, being a parent is impossible. These addicts have lost control of their lives, and because of their addiction, they have lost their children as well. But where this might have been the end of their story, it is actually the beginning.
All rise. The Summer Court now reconvenes for the dispatch of official business. The Honorable Regan A. Miller, Judge presiding.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to this session of Family Drug Court.
This is Family Drug Treatment Court, and these are participants in a revolutionary recovery program called F.I.R.S.T, Families in Recovery to Stay Together. The program teaches addicts how to live clean, sober, responsible lives, and in the process gives them the chance to get their children back from foster homes, supervised by the Department of Social Services.
And quite honestly, what it was for us was we were seeing the same families, treating the same families, working with the same families, and wanted to find a way in which to make a difference in these families. Approximately 80% of our families in child protective services, particularly, and also in area mental health, and the families that they see in juvenile court, have had some type of substance abuse, alcohol involvement.
The F.I.R.S.T program is strictly voluntary. When participants sign on, they understand that even though there are no criminal charges against them, they are subject to jail time if they break the rules. For these hopeful first parents, the stakes are high, and the clock is ticking, thanks to a federal law called ASFA.
Well, ASFA stands for the Adoption and Safe Families Act. The federal government passed this law that said that children should not grow up in foster care. Because the government can't parent. Children need parents, and they should be returned to their own parents within 1 year if it's safe to do so. And if not, then the government should look for DSS, should look for some alternative parent, get them into an adoptive home where they can be nurtured and cared for.
You know, my agency is mandated by the federal government to get a permanent option for these children in a year. And the sad thing about it is substance abuse doesn't always get fixed in a year. And so the great thing about our program, the F.I.R.S.T program, is that we are so intensive and so structured that the parents that can grasp that and really move forward, because they're making progress, they're allowed some extra time to do what they need to do.
The F.I.R.S.T program, in association with the Mecklenburg County Department of Social Services, offers clients 2 levels of participation. Level 1 incorporates substance abuse treatment, monitoring, and random drug testing. Participants may volunteer or be ordered to enter the Level 2 program, which includes substance abuse treatment and random drug tests, and introduces more intensive case management, biweekly court sessions, staffings, the Strengthening Families program or parenting classes, and requires NA or AA meetings. The road to recovery and reunification also includes locating safe and sober housing and finding a job to help support a family. Before Family Drug Treatment Court convenes, a team of professionals meets to discuss each client's case. Attorneys, case coordinator, social workers, treatment professionals, and the district court judge work together to provide support to the struggling parent fighting to win custody of their child. Judge Regan Miller will hear about the progress, or lack of progress, from the FIRST program participants.
In most cases, the judge has a hard time determining whether or not his decisions are having a positive effect on the parties that have come before him. In drug court, I'm able to see, as a judge, a progression. And to watch a person progress through their substance abuse treatment, as well as sometimes their mental health treatment as they're going through this process, it gives you that feeling that something you're doing is successful, is producing a positive outcome for that individual and that family. And that's really what our juvenile courts are supposed to be about, is trying to keep families together.
The drug court judge can be a benevolent father figure, understanding and forgiving. But when clients break the rules too often, the judge has the power to force compliance. That can mean sanctioning time spent in jail.
But because you miss court so much and you've kind of avoided the consequences of your behavior, you're going to have to experience the consequences of behavior here, okay? So you have to come over here and sit with Mary over here and spend 7 days in jail.
I know that some of the sanctions are difficult for my clients. Some of those sanctions include going to jail. I don't like to see that, and that goes against the grain of what a defense lawyer is all about. But again, for them to be successful in getting their children back, and that's one of the reasons why I'm there. That's what they tell me they want to have. They want their children back. In order for that to happen, sometimes you have to go through some real difficult times, and that would include some of the jail sanctions that are imposed. So I don't jump up and down at the defense table when someone gets ordered to jail. I don't like to see it, but it happens sometimes, and I know that usually it's for the best.
I got sick and tired of going to jail. I mean, it was devastating. But the sanctions is good, because if it hadn't have been the sanctions, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It made me slow down, think about and what part I'm playing and stuff, and why this keep happening. I had to let God and leave those people alone, them old people, places and things, and put the focus on myself.
All right. Tracy, how are things going?
I had a bad week.
You had a bad week? What happened?
Jail time, extra court dates, more meetings, more intensive counseling. Whatever it takes to make a FIRST client realize that when the federally mandated deadline passes, there is no chance of getting back their child. Sometimes this puts added pressure on parents, and sometimes they falter.
I always seem to fail. Failure has been my biggest flaw, and my biggest letdown is just failure. I just seem like I just let everybody that really mattered to me or meant something to me, I just failed them. And big of all, I found out later on was I failed myself. And when I came into the program, I mean, it just gave me another chance, and then I had to be willing, and I got that willingness today, and I know that if I go back out and use that, I'm going to die. I'm not going to make it back.
Being willing means undergoing a substance abuse treatment program and attending meetings, such as this group treatment session at SAIL, a private substance abuse counseling firm.
I'm Darrel, and I'm an addict.
Souls are laid bare as fellow addicts listen to each other and offer support and confidence. Participants also attend 12-step meetings, such as Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous, sometimes as many as 5 meetings a week.
Every person sitting in those group rooms is unique, and their situation is unique. So we have to be careful to not try to make them fit into our box or where we want them to be. We have to meet their needs. You've got just your education, your basic, this is how you live. These are tools to survive, because sometimes we have to go all the way back to just primal skills, learning how to survive and deal with life without running to drugs or running to alcohol to cover up, feelings that they can't handle or situations that they're not comfortable with.
Well, basically, like I said, I went to drug court Wednesday.
Darrel's case coordinator meets with him one-on-one to discuss concerns he has with his job, money, his fear of backsliding, and his hopes and dreams. Darrel is in the more difficult Level 2 program.
I usually see every client just about every week, and when you normally get a new client, they really do not want to be here. And when a client like that walks through the door, and you know you've got to work with this client at least 10 months to a year, you know you've got to do a lot of digging, a lot of stepping back and meeting the client where they're at. So when they're coming in each week, it's not a matter of, give me your meeting sheet, let's go do a UA. It's a matter of, who are you? What do you like? What's some of the things that you like to do? And then we talk a little bit about their use. What led you to this? Because you want to see why the person is here today. Other than their kids being removed, you want to see what is it that truly brought them to where they're at. And that starts to build the relationship.
The dislikes I feel in the program is I see the difference in how a man go through the program and want his kids back, and the way a woman goes through the program and get her kids back. There are a lot of agencies, a lot of programs out there that'll help women who have had their kids taken, whether through addiction. But when it comes to a man, it's like it's much harder for him.
We only have a few men in the program, and those men, their accomplishment is that they're footing the bill themselves, particularly from the financial standpoint. There is no residential program associated with our drug court in which they can become involved in. They have to go out and find that themselves. That's why their accomplishments and their progress through this program is much more of an accomplishment than some of our other participants.
Addicted mothers attend treatment classes at another substance abuse counseling firm, CASCADE. CASCADE provides the skills needed to be good parents while dealing with their substance abuse issues. Many addicted mothers have never had good parenting roles, no one to tell them right or wrong behavior, or show them even the most basic mothering duties.
A lot of times women who come into treatment with us are pretty much emotionally stuck in their own adolescence and haven't developed the skills to take care of themselves, much less to take care of their children. Oftentimes it's a generational problem. A lot of the women that come to treatment here are amazed when they get into like the family disease class and start doing geneograms and picturing their whole family, and oh wow, you know, there's a lot of alcoholism, or there's a lot of drug stuff, or a lot of mental health issues throughout. This isn't just me.
There are group classes in sex education, parenting, substance abuse, and the effects of drugs on the unborn child. As clients gain knowledge of what it takes to be nurturing mothers, they come to realize that substance abuse doesn't just affect the physical well-being of a child. It affects their emotional well-being as well.
What I hear a lot is, I was only hurting myself by smoking marijuana or whatever it was they were doing. I wasn't hurting my children. And so during the first level of treatment, a lot of our work is just kind of breaking through that denial and getting them to realize that their kids really did have a pretty good understanding of what was going on. You know, just because their child maybe never saw them in the act of getting high, they saw the result. You know, they knew that mom had different reactions to their behavior on different days depending on whether she was high or not. And kids pick up on everything.
Alfreda tends her garden, a small patch of serenity in a wounded past. Alfreda's addiction had a direct effect on her children's behavior. It cost her the life of one of her boys.
A son I lost that came a part of started getting high. He got killed last year. He was 27. He started getting high, and I didn't know anything about it. But then when I found out, you know, it was like, today I can say we got high together because, you know, whether he was in one room, I was in another, we got high together. You know, and I also gave him drugs because his addiction took him to the point where people used him.
It's late afternoon when the school bus drops off 14-year-old Jamaal. He has been living at home with Alfreda, but is technically still under DSS supervision, while his mother works toward first graduation and permanent custody. For 2 years, Jamaal lived in a foster home while Alfreda struggled with her dependency problem. Jamaal still has struggles of his own, remembering how things were.
Miserable. Couldn't do nothing. Couldn't get no clothes. Because she always spent it on drugs. I looked at other people and it's like, I see the sort of things they wore when I didn't have, and I got like kind of a little miserable and mad and stuff like that. It's like every time my friends come over, like the door would be closed. But really, none of my friends usually come over here usually, because around the neighborhood, like bad people and people that do the wrong things on the street.
The dark shadows of the past are being erased one day at a time.
The feeling that I have is just like I can't make up for stuff I done lost, but it's like it's overwhelming the way we are, and we talk about the things and the stuff that I used to do. He goes to meetings with me. He's everything to me. You know, it's like we talk so much about, I don't want him to do what I've done. I don't want him to go where I've been. And we talks a lot about that and stuff. And he always telling me he loved me free. I'm glad you don't smoke that stuff no more.
First of all, you never know which parents are suited for it. If you look at the criteria for success in drug court prior to entry, there's no way you can look at certain characteristics and say, oh, well, this person's going to be successful and this person's not going to be successful. I had a woman who was truly in the gutter outside of my office building. And I saw her there and I said, there is no way she is going to be successful. And 6 months into drug court, she had a job. She was clean and sober for 6 months, and she was on her way and did get her children back. And so there's no real predictor of success.
We had a mother who was involved with domestic violence and substance abuse. We terminated her rights to the child that was in our custody at the time. She was also expecting her next child. The normal protocol is we would have taken that child too, and if truth be told, the rights would have been terminated on that child. She testified at the TPR hearing. The court terminated her rights. She did have that child, but we had during the interim set up drug court. The child that she had after we terminated the parental rights on the other child never came into DSS's custody. She went into drug court and they worked with her, and today, as far as I know, that family is doing fine and DSS has not been involved.
What is important for me personally, being a parent, is that the only person who can parent your child is you. And I think for the most part, parents who are involved in the F.I.R.S.T program really want to have a good opportunity to be able to parent their children. But sometimes they need the extra guidance, the extra support, the extra structure, and sometimes that very tough conversation about what happens when you aren't sober and how you put your children at risk. And I have learned, even as a parent myself, we always respond when it comes to risk of our children. We want to do the best thing for our children, and we respond when we know that our children are hurting.
The highlight of any family drug court session is graduation day.
Alfreda is graduating today, and as is usually the case when they graduate, I have to step down from the bench. Here you are.
Before family drug treatment court, the success rate of family reunification was half of 1%. Since the F.I.R.S.T program was introduced in 2003, the reunification success rate is over 25%. More than a third of all F.I.R.S.T participants graduate from the program. And although they may or may not get their children back, they are well on the way to achieving a remarkable goal: a positive and productive lifestyle free from drugs or alcohol. For Alfreda, graduation day will be bittersweet.
I've been waiting on this moment, but seems like it's here. I don't want to leave because it became a family. It's just like, all of us one family, but I know we got to move on. It's a big day for me because I didn't graduate from school, and I'm just overwhelmed to be a part of something today that saved my life, and this is my life, I'm just ready to start living, being responsible.
A few words of congratulations from the judge, and Alfreda graduates from the F.I.R.S.T program. But what happens next surprises everyone in the courtroom, especially Alfreda.
All right, I have one more announcement to make with respect to Alfreda. Now, I'm your judge, right, in regular juvenile court, and we have a review hearing when?
The 18th,
of this month.
on the 10th.
All right. We're not going to have that hearing because today I'm going to divest and give you your child back. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh man, when I heard him tell Alfreda that, I mean, I wanted to cry because the first thing I felt inside of me was that if he did that for her and I'm going through the same thing and I get to that level that she's at, then I know he's going to do it for me. And that's just having faith. And once that day happened, I mean, I've already played it out in my head a couple of times. It's going to be scary at first because, I mean, I have 3 beautiful kids that I'm going to have to all of a sudden just take back that I haven't had in 2 years.
Well, today is a good day. Today kind of tops it off as to when you stop and you reflect and say, why am I really here? And every time something like that happens, you stop and you reflect again. This is why I'm here. I'm here to help them change their lives, and they're also here to help me change my life, too.
I would describe a judge's job most of the time as being fairly frustrating, and particularly when you're in juvenile court. You're dealing with families that are in distress, children particularly that are in distress, and coming to a successful result is such a long process, particularly when you're dealing with issues of substance abuse. And today we had that opportunity, I think, in court to return a child to a parent and do that in open court and in the presence of other people. And as a judge, I have to say it's very satisfying. You know, we don't get a lot of those satisfying moments, and to be able to do that and get that feeling of accomplishment on the part of the parent is just wonderful.
Appreciate that.
It's just wonderful.
To see that success and to see, you know, I'm a parent as well, and I can't imagine not being able to have my children. And so when you hear these parents, both moms and dads, go through this emotional period and really saying, you know, I did it, and I did it for the right reasons, and you see them reunited with their kids, it's fantastic.
We are a state of migration. We have multiple families, a variety of different ethnicities moving here, social stratas moving here, and the ability to have these types of programs that work with families, not just parents, but work with families, I think will be key to a growing county and a growing city that is seeing an influx of families that have multiple challenges.
You know, we need more community resources. It can be really frustrating to have a client who needs something and we can't get that need met because of, you know, lack of community support, lack of awareness. A lot of times people don't even know we exist.
It's unfortunate that our sessions are closed to the public because I like people to come in and witness what you saw today with respect to Alfreda and getting her child back because that's what's important about what we're trying to do here. And if I had one wish, is that we weren't always every year concerned about whether or not we're going to be able to continue these programs, whether we're running out of resources for the program, whether we have enough treatment facilities for the people who are participating.
Darrel is still hopeful he'll soon follow Alfreda's example and win custody of his 3 children. Until then, he still has his occasional visitations and a lot of hard work to do. Alfreda and Jamaal have a new foundation on which to build a better life. But recovery is an ongoing journey, and it will take patience, perseverance, and all their love to cement their shattered lives back together. A portrait of a mother and her son reunified. A family becoming whole again.